Now, just a couple of days ago, it was announced the WNBA Players Union had voted to authorize a strike against the NBA owners. I just say NBA owners because every team is owned by an NBA owner except for two. All right? And they're trying to get one of those to an NBA owner, which is the Houston Rockets owner. And they announced that they brave, stunning, and courageously would authorize a strike.
The WNBA Players Association has officially authorized a strike against the league, and the reaction from sports fans has been one of sheer disbelief. What makes this situation unlike any other labor dispute is clear. The WNBA has never turned a profit in its 27-year history. Nearly every team, except for two, is owned by NBA franchises, which have been subsidizing losses for almost 3 decades. Now, just as the league is gaining momentum, largely due to the impact of one standout player, the union has threatened to walk away from a deal that would raise maximum salaries from $250,000 to nearly $2 million, an 800% increase. And despite this massive jump, they are saying no.
Thursday morning, because David Sampson, who's a really freaking smart sports business guy, came out and said, the NBA is going to draw the line on revenue sharing. And they will draw the line to the point of shutting the WNBA's doors down. They are not going to give the revenue sharing that the WNBA players want. And the women will compromise. and so I had a theory when I made that video that they did this to publicly save face before they...
David Sampson understands exactly how owners think. As the former president of the Miami Marlins, he doesn't mince words when it comes to labor negotiations. When he warns that the NBA will draw a hard line on revenue sharing and potentially shut down the WNBA rather than cross it, that's not speculation. That's insight from someone who has sat in those rooms and knows what's coming. The players are demanding 50-50 revenue sharing, similar to what NBA players receive. Meanwhile, the owners are offering substantial salary increases, but they refuse to share revenue from a league that loses money every single season. One side is operating within financial reality, the other is operating on principle. And principles, unfortunately, don't pay mortgages when a league folds.
Call it 250. So you mean to tell me y'all are not going to sign a deal where you get, let's call it a 7.5 to 8 times raise? You're not signing a deal with a 7 times salary increase. Let's just call it 7 times. Are you absurd? I mean, that's a great way for these players to lose the support of fans. By the way, they're losing the support of fans. Because the biggest complaint all these years is they didn't get paid.
Take a look at the social media reactions. These aren't trolls or haters. These are fans who have followed the WNBA for years, supported its growth, and genuinely care about the product. And yet, they're calling the players clowns. They're saying the leadership is embarrassing. Some even point out that players with ownership stakes in other leagues might stand to benefit if the WNBA collapses. This criticism isn't rooted in misogyny or disrespect. It comes from fans who have watched this league struggle for 27 years, finally seeing it gain traction in 2024, only to witness players threaten to undo all that momentum over a revenue-sharing demand that makes no business sense. The current CBA expires on October 20th. The owner's new offer would raise the salary cap from $1.46 million per team to over $3 million by the end of the deal. Maximum individual salaries would jump from $249,000 to $1,900,000, and minimum salaries would more than double. And yet, the players' union responded by authorizing a strike, demanding a cut of revenue that doesn't even exist.
This is not going to end well. The entire leadership is made up of players who have ownership stakes in other leagues. And it's beneficial for them to kill the WNBA. When are the rest of the players going to boot them out of their roles? Embarrassing as F. I still don't get it. I still don't get it. How that could be happening. I will stop watching the WNBA cold turkey like how I left my first wife. Don't mess this up. They definitely have the wrong players representing the players. And I don't understand why none of that's... There's things that go on to this in this league that would never, ever, a million times...
Here's what fans understand, and what the Players Association seems to miss. You can't revenue share losses. The NBA's 50-50 split works because the league generates $11 billion in annual revenue and posts massive profits. The players get half of something substantial. By contrast, the WNBA generates roughly $200 million in revenue and loses an estimated $10 to $40 million per year, depending on which source you trust. Since 1997, NBA owners have been covering these losses out of their own pockets. So, when players demand the same revenue-sharing model as a league that is 40 times larger and profitable, it's not brave or groundbreaking. It's financially illiterate, and the timing couldn't be worse. The 2024 season saw record attendance and viewership, driven almost entirely by Caitlin Clark's rookie campaign. The Indiana Fever went from averaging 4,000 fans per game to selling out arenas. National TV ratings for her games tripled, merchandise sales exploded, and for the first time in league history, there was genuine mainstream momentum. Corporate sponsors were taking notice, and expansion talks were gaining traction. And yet, at this very moment of maximum leverage and unprecedented opportunity, the Players Association decides to threaten a work stoppage.
Crazy. Yawn. The small interest I have to watch will be gone if they strike. Would anyone notice? A lot of people, they are getting clowned. They are actually getting clowned. They have a professional women's basketball league. When did that begin? The fan base is still not invested enough to sustain the league if they strike. No. I mean, it's crazy. The WNBA has never turned a profit for 30 years, meaning the NBA and more so the owner.
That comparison to the 5 feet 8 inches YouTuber isn't just trolling. It references a real viral event. When casual fans see a WNBA all-star struggle against an amateur content creator and then watch those same players demand NBA-level compensation, the disconnect becomes impossible to ignore. Fair or not, that's the perception battle the league is facing. Authorizing a strike doesn't help. It only reinforces negative stereotypes, painting the league as entitled rather than working toward financial stability. The Players Association is led by Nneka Agwa Mike, who has been vocal about compensation equality. But equality in what sense? The NBA generates approximately $45 in revenue per viewer, while the WNBA generates about $3 per viewer. NBA players fill 20,000-seat arenas at premium ticket prices for 82 games per season, whereas WNBA players fill smaller venues at lower prices for 40 games. The economic fundamentals are entirely different. Demanding identical revenue-sharing structures completely ignores those realities.
Look, it's kind of weird. We all just got a trial run on what it was like to not be able to see Caitlin Clark on the court. It sucked. It sucked, but these players haven't done enough as of yet. They haven't. I mean, it's crazy. They just saved the owners money. Go ahead and strike and do a clean out. Play with your rookie contracts and ask anyone overseas if they want to play and anyone else who wants to play. Just clean house. You know.
And here's the nuclear option. Nobody is really talking about replacement players. The rookies are under contract. They cannot strike. That means you'd still have Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink when she returns from her ACL tear, and every other player on a rookie deal still playing. Then the owners could sign international players from European leagues, who would jump at the chance to play in America for six-figure salaries. The EuroLeague women are full of talented players making $30,000 to $60,000 per season overseas. You think they'd honor a WNBA strike? They'd be on planes within 48 hours. The Players Association might be betting that NBA owners won't let the league fold due to optics and political pressure, but that's a dangerous gamble. These are business people who have built billion-dollar franchises by making tough financial decisions. They've weathered lockouts, moved teams, fired coaches, and traded superstars, all in service of the bottom line. The idea that they'll cave to pressure and agree to share revenue from a money-losing operation simply because it seems the right thing to do? That's not how this works.
Yikes. Man, so tired of the women fatigue. It's crazy. It is crazy. This is an opportunity for the owners and stakeholders of the WNBA to reboot the league. You will get tons of international fans. Will anyone actually notice or care? Seriously, if the league folds, would anybody really miss it? And I can tell you, as soon as I drop one of these videos, I get a ton of these comments.
Look at that comment about women's fatigue. That's not coming from someone who hates women's sports. It's coming from someone who's tired of the constant narrative that everything is unfair, everything is discriminatory, and everything is someone else's fault. The WNBA has been given every advantage. NBA owners funding losses for decades, shared arenas and practice facilities, cross-promotion during NBA broadcasts, priority scheduling to avoid competition with men's sports, and yet it's still not profitable. At some point, the conversation has to shift from what the league deserves to what the league has earned. The players want to point to rising attendance and viewership as proof they deserve more. Fine, but one good season after 26 years of losses doesn't erase the debt. It doesn't suddenly make the business model viable. It simply means the league is finally moving in the right direction. And maybe, just maybe, you should take the massive raise being offered, prove you can sustain the growth, and then negotiate from a position of actual strength in the next CBA cycle.
They're playing with fire. All right? They're playing with fire. A lot of people was supporting them for the most part on getting the salary. It's the revenue sharing where people are like,
the draconian comment is particularly telling. The Players Association called the league's current structure draconian. That's the word they chose. Draconian to describe a league that has been kept alive for 27 years through subsidies, where owners have absorbed tens of millions in losses annually, and where players receive full benefits. Charter flights were recently approved, and salaries have steadily increased despite no path to profitability. Draconian. That word choice reveals just how disconnected union leadership is from financial reality. Here's what draconian actually looks like. The league folds, everyone loses their jobs, and women's professional basketball in America disappears for another decade, just like it did after the ABL collapsed in 1998. That's draconian. Being offered an 800% raise in a league that loses money? That's like winning the lottery and complaining the check isn't big enough. David Sampson said the women will likely compromise, and he's probably right. This strike authorization is likely a negotiating tactic, a way to save face publicly before accepting something close to the owner's current offer. The Players Association knows they don't have leverage. They know the public reaction has been brutal. They know threatening a strike right when the league finally has momentum is insane. So, they'll authorize the strike, make noise about solidarity and fighting for their worth, and then sign a deal that gives them massive salary increases without the revenue sharing they're demanding. But here's the damage already done. They've lost fan support at the worst possible time. Those social media comments we looked at earlier? They're not outliers. That sentiment dominates online. Fans who were excited about the WNBA's growth are now saying they won't care if the league disappears. People who plan to buy tickets next season are reconsidering. Corporate sponsors who are interested are likely second-guessing partnerships with a league whose players seem determined to self-destruct. And all for what? To make a point about equality and fight a principled battle that ignores economic reality. The players had everything going their way: record viewership, mainstream attention, owners willing to dramatically increase compensation, expansion plans, and new media deals being negotiated. All they had to do was take the win, build momentum, and position themselves for an even better deal in 5 years when the league might actually be profitable. Instead, they've chosen this moment to draw a line in the sand over revenue sharing in a money-losing league. They've chosen to threaten a strike right when casual fans are finally paying attention. They've chosen to risk everything built over the past year for a demand that has zero chance of being met because the math simply doesn't work. Think about Caitlin Clark's position in all this. She just had the best rookie season in WNBA history. She single-handedly changed the trajectory of the league, brought millions of new viewers, filled arenas, and made the Fever relevant for the first time in years. And now she's watching the Players Association, which she is required to be part of, threaten a strike over a deal that would pay her nearly $2 million per season. How do you think she feels? What about Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, or the other rookies experiencing WNBA success for the first time? The veterans driving this strike authorization have been in the league for a decade or more. They've endured struggles, low pay, and poor conditions, and they want their moment to fight for something better. That's understandable on a human level, but they're fighting the wrong battle at the wrong time. They're letting frustration with the past cloud their judgment about present opportunities, and the owners know it. Owners know the players don't have leverage. They know public sentiment is against the union. They know they can wait this out. They'll hold firm on revenue sharing, maybe offer additional perks to sweeten the deal, and eventually the players will sign because the alternative is watching the league fold and losing everything. But the relationship has been damaged. The goodwill between the league and its growing fan base has taken a massive hit, with consequences extending beyond this CBA negotiation. When fans perceive players as unreasonable or entitled, they disengage. They stop watching, stop buying merchandise, and stop caring. In a league still fighting for survival, losing fan engagement now could be catastrophic. So here's the question every WNBA player needs to ask. Was this worth it? Was authorizing a strike over revenue sharing in a money-losing league worth the damage to fan relationships? Worth the risk of the league folding? Worth potentially destroying all the momentum built in 2024? From the fans' perspective, the answer is obvious. Take the 800% raise, prove the league can be profitable, and then fight for revenue sharing when there's actually revenue to share. What happens next? Will the players back down and sign the deal? Or are they truly willing to strike and risk everything? Drop your prediction in the comments. Hit subscribe for more WNBA coverage, and let's see how this plays out.